Now to sum up the transshipment facilities at seaports, let's have a look at different types of terminals. Though a port consists of one or more terminals, not every port is offering all types of terminals. The most important type of terminal is the container terminal, where the containers are handled. In addition to the container terminal, we have general cargo terminals, and general cargo terminals deal with goods that are not transported inside a container because they are maybe very heavy, much more heavier than can be transported in a container, or the dimensions of the goods are not cannot be transported in a container. It can be too small or too large, or there needs to be some special handling because it's very sensitive goods. Another type of terminal is for liquid goods, for example, importing and exporting of oil and gas, other chemicals. We have bulk goods. Bulk goods are handled without a packaging, for example, ore or coal. You don't have a packaging around these goods. Fertilizers and crop are also important bulk goods. And finally, the fifth type of terminal that we deal with are ro-ro terminals, roll on, roll off. Though in these terminals, the goods, they move themselves on to the ship or move themselves from the ships. The goods have tires. This is typically used for cars, trucks, farm equipment, sometimes trains even, where the goods that are transported by a ship can move themselves. Of course, we also have cross-docking terminals. Keep in mind that at a cross-docking terminal we also have the unloading, the loading, the sorting of the goods, but we do not have a storage of the goods. Now the last big concept in terms of transport infrastructure that I would like you to learn about are freight villages. And in order to understand the concepts of freight villages in a better way, I would like to ask you to do a self-study by means of the textbook of Gleisner and Femerling in chapter 4. They have a section on logistics park and freight villages. Read these a few pages in the textbook and then try to give examples for this concept in Oman. If these examples don't come to your mind naturally, try to do web research and identify examples of freight villages or something that is close to it in Oman. So now let's sum up this lecture. We introduced transport infrastructure. In particular, the main differentiation is on the macro and micro level, but for the macro and the micro level we had several sub-levels, subtypes of infrastructure. And we had a closer look at different types of transshipment terminals. There are a lot of different terminals. Again, have a look at the textbook for more details. And in this lecture, I discussed the airports and the seaports. I also want you to be familiar with the concept of freight villages. And for this, it's important to read in particular chapter 4.1 and 4.2 from the textbook of Gleisner and Femerling. From the previous lecture on transport modes, the sections 5.1 and 5.3 are relevant.